Hey squad, welcome back. Now can you believe that this cool hip hop beat playing in the background began with this really simple Ultrabeat pattern? Well, yes, it sure did. And despite the fact that Logic is jam-packed with so many drum programming options, Ultrabeat is still there as a fantastic resource for you to come up with some cool drum patterns. So let me show you how you can use it. And remember, this Logic project will be available to download completely free of charge. There'll be a link in the description. Okay, let's get it. Okay, so for this one, our tempo set to 96 BPM, very typical for old school hip hop. And we're going to insert an instance of Ultrabeat drum machine. Now, for those of you who've never seen or used Ultrabeat before, this was the default drum programming unit that came with Logic from way back over 10 years ago, before the drum machine designer, sampler, and quick sampler instruments were added. And I did some videos on this in the past if you want to check those out. But my main focus for today is to show you how you can still make really good use of Ultrabeat when it comes to pulling up some cool ideas for your drum programming. So what we're going to do is come up here to select our preset. We come down to drum kits. And as you can see, we've got a whole load of different drum kits that we can choose from. Now for this production, we're going to go for R&B Lo-Fi kit. Now Ultrabeat has got a built-in sequencer. So we switch on the sequencer right here. And if we press play right here, have a listen. Now if we come over here to full view, we'll see the programming of this particular drum pattern. So we've got the kick here, closed hat, cabasa, and the snare right here. And this here is the basis of the beat that I'm going to be creating. Now what we want to do is come down to this section right here, hover over this where it says pattern, grab that, drag and drop it onto the Ultrabeat track. And that we have a MIDI version of this. It's important we switch off the sequencer at this point because we're using the main sequencer in Logic. And if we hit play, so there's our pattern. And if you're into this type of programming, definitely check out my video on Ultrabeat. Anyway, that's the foundation pattern that we're going to use to build everything else on. Okay, so here's our Ultrabeat MIDI pattern. And now I'm going to firm things up with this kick, these claps, and this snare. Let's pull these into the quick sampler, like so. That's the kick. That's the claps. And now the snare. And you can watch my recent video on how I'm using the Logic Quick Sampler for a whole range of really useful sampling and drum programming. I can now take these off the screen. And for each of these Quick Sampler instances, I'm going to change the polyphony to mono or monophonic. I'm going to switch the key tracking off. So it doesn't matter which key I use on the keyboard, the pitch won't change. And I'm going to change the velocity also to off. So we're always going to get the maximum velocity here when we trigger a note. I'm going to do this for all three of these quick sampler instances. Then I'm going to create my drum pattern and I'll come straight back. Okay, so here's the drum pattern. And as you can see here, if I was to go through all of these drum tracks, they're all going through to a drum bus. And my drum bus is bus 10. And on bus 10, I've got a couple of plugins to give me the sonic flavor I'm looking for. We've got the Waves API 2500 and we got the Maserati DRM using the Whacking Kit preset. Now down here, I've got some additional hi-hats. And if I was to open this up, you see that the hi-hats are coming from Logic Drummer. We are on the Neo Soul kit using the old school preset. And our drummer is Rose, playing the modern R&B style. What I've done is switched off all of the drums besides the hi-hats. And this is what we get. And I've got the follow function switched on and we're following the kick drum. So let's have a listen to 8 bars of the drums 4 bars without the hats, and then the hats kick in for another 4. Now it's time to add the main melody. Check this out. And once again, I'm using Arcade for this really cool melody. The line or set is Drip and the preset is Bravado. Take a listen to some of these loops. Really, really cool and really useful. Now we're going to dip back in and use a couple more arcade samples. So if you're still finding value in the video up to this point, remember to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, this Logic project will be available for download. The link will be in the description, and there'll be links to all of the plugins used, including Arcade and the Waves plugins, where you can download and try them out completely free of charge. All right, let's get back to it. So I've dipped back into Arcade and we are using the Brainwaves line, and on this one is the Veiled preset. Now this one is essentially a collection of stringed instruments. Okay, and of course, as we know, we can modify the sounds using these controls up here, but have a listen to what I've created here using some of the sample loops. Okay, and then there's one more instance of Arcade that I'm using, and that comes from the Jukebox Vocals Walkout. So let's have a quick listen to what's going on here. Now the final thing I want to add to this is a bass line. Okay, so rather than playing my electric bass in on this one, I just went for one of my favorite virtual electric bass plugins, and that's the Waves Bass Fingers right here. I'm using the preset under the basic category, Pop Art. And all I've done, I've switched on the wah pedal. I've got an insert of the CLA Bass as well, just to give me the tone I'm looking for. So let's have a quick listen to the bass part and how it fits with the other elements. And then we're going to treat the master bus with these fantastic plugins right here to give it the life that we're looking for. Let's have a quick listen. Let me show you what's happening on my master bus. As you can see, I've got the Waves Studio Rack inserted right here, and I'm using my usual plugins for this type of music. So in the first slot, I've got the Waves Abbey Road vinyl. The signal then feeds into the vintage Aural exciter. Then we hit the J37 reel-to-reel. And then of course we go into the Abbey Road TG mastering unit. And then we round things off with the L3 Ultramaximizer, and I've set the profile up here to extreme analog. Now the order in which you plug these things in does make a difference. So keep in mind how the signal will be changing as they pass from the top right down to the bottom. Now you can grab this studio rack from my StudioVerse profile, and this one's called Boom Bap Mix Chain 04. Grab that one, try it out, see what you think. Anyway, let's play out with this. I'll start with the rack muted and then bring it in. So until next time, I'm Deuce, I'm out. Peace.